As a brief introduction, my name is Chris Robino, and I work in the digital marketing space. I'm an entrepreneur. I started building my first company when I was in college, and that began a long history of building up companies and selling companies. And all of that really started when I was a teenager, and my whole entrepreneurial spirit came from the fact that I've been fired from every job that I've ever had. I have a tendency to not handle the response, well, we do it that way because we've always done it that way. When I look at all situations and all processes and think to myself, well, we can do this better. Why wouldn't we do it better? Which then always led me to doing things
Hmm.
better. So when I was growing up, what I saw was my dad, who worked, we're from the Midwest, and my dad worked for Union Pacific Railroad, which back in the old days, Union Pacific was the railroad, and it was based in Nebraska. And he worked for Union Pacific Railroad for 20 plus years while I was growing up, and I'm the oldest of four, and I've got three younger sisters. And my dad was the smartest person, I knew back then, but he kept butting up against the ceiling because he wasn't a good get along with everybody, negotiator slash sales like person. He was, or I should say, that part of him is very much like me. That's the part of me that gets fired from every job, right? But he had a family. He's like, I can't get fired from this job. But I watched him, do that, and it just seemed to me, from my perspective, that he hated his job, right? That he had to work all the time, and he never seemed to be happy when he came home from the job. And then on the weekends he would golf, and when he came back from golf, he never seemed to be happy about golf. And so I used to always tell my friends there were two things I said I was never going to do, and that was work for somebody, because that seems to be miserable, and play golf. So if you work at a restaurant, especially a restaurant that gets super busy on a Friday, Saturday night, and you've got dishwashers and bus people and servers and cooks and all these people doing these different things, it only works if everybody on that line is doing the things that they know they have to do. And if, the servers are down, or the dishwashers, or the dishwasher breaks, or but if everybody does the things that they're supposed to be doing on that line, it's like a sporting event. 6 hours later, you're all smoking cigarettes and having beers, going, God, this is the greatest thing ever.
It's interesting because some years ago, I've heard someone saying that everyone should have at least one decent experience, work experience, serving others.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because this kind of like teaches you the value of whoever will serve you for the rest of your day. So if you go to a restaurant, you've already worked in something similar. You know that that person is doing their best. That sometimes stuff that another customer was rude to them, and they're doing that work because usually it's kind of like their first job as well.
I don't care if I was washing dishes at a restaurant or selling AI consulting to companies that don't understand what AI is. You know, Either one of those things, there's a part of each of those things that's still just the work. And I love the work. Always have. I've told you this story before. So that management company that I started working at in the very, very beginning, you would write a memo. And when I say write a memo, I mean write a memo on a yellow legal pad, and you would put it in an outbox that a person would take out of your office, type on a sheet of paper, put in a folder, return it to your office days later. You would red pen that, put it back in your outbox where they would pick it up again. And you do this two or three times before you're like, this is good. And they would then, photocopy it and put it in cubby holes for all the rest of the team that you were writing this memo for. That's how we did it. And so, you're thinking about starting a small consulting firm, say, you better have $500,000, because you're going to, not make any money the first year, and you got to hire all these people to rewrite your memos for you. because that was the only way we had business communication. So then, Office comes in. It's like, you can just type your memo in this thing and send it out electronically, and you don't need anybody to, do any of this. And it's like, what was funny to me is in the early transitions of Office, that's what people would do. That all they did was, instead of putting it in a physical outbox, they sent it as an email to their secretaries or admins or assistants and said, "Red pen this up for me again and send it back." And it's like, okay, you're taking the technology and saying, instead of doing this for me, just do the same steps over again, just do them in a different format. Instead of paper, we're just going digital. And that's right now, that's what's happening on the AI side.
Yeah.
When if you really want to use this the right way, they're not better existing tools, they're better new tools. And so for somebody like me who cannot stand waste, spending as much time as possible using those tools to eliminate the steps, not just make the steps faster, get rid of them. That's using AI, or at least I think that's the better way to think about AI.
So this is what you're talking about when you mention using AI the wrong way. It's not like, it's kind of like just the first level is just replace whatever we're doing and do it faster with AI. What you are suggesting is that we should go in a deeper level to take the opportunity to reanalyze the process and make it even more efficient, and throw some of these steps away, because maybe everyone does it but nobody looks at it.
Right.
I
Right.
think I think this comes down to the part of the consultancy that we do for our own clients, in a way that the way we do partnerships, as you said, like with the clients, is more like we have their backs and we have the expertise to say, look, if you're not doing that, I'm telling you, it's like,
Yeah.
we're using that for you. It's like, why you're not even using that internally?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're a trusted resource. That's the other, big benefit. They always use us, which is why they're all asking us the same questions. Again, you and I have this conversation all the time. The number one thing I was asked in 2025, and I've been doing SEO since 2007. And the number one question in 25 is, what is AI search? Which, again, I have to go into lots of different places to explain AI search, and that it's still search. But there's lots of other things inside of AI that, again, you're going to be able to get out of that. Instead of links, you're just going to get answers that you can then talk to. And that's different than links that you have to click on to determine, again, all of the stuff that's going in. But again, our clients want us to say, it goes back to that wasting time. Our clients like, I'm very nervous about this because I think I'm going to make the wrong decision, and then I'm going to feel like I waste all that time. And again, the response is, it doesn't matter. Yes, you are. You're going to pick the wrong technology and you're going to change it. But when do you want to pick that wrong technology? Like, if you're 10 mistakes away, when do you want to get started on the mistake making? And so for people that are like, I don't want to start this now because I think I'm going to make a mistake and I don't want to waste time going into it doesn't matter. I mean, you have to go in and you have to start making your mistakes, and you have to go in and start eliminating platforms that don't work for whatever your, system is.
I think one of the mistakes that I see, well, these leaders of these companies that are not embracing the technology, is that they're postponing a decision, and the cost of that indecision, it's when they realize it's going to be too late.
Yes.
Right. And the fact that you're like, when you're going to choose the wrong tool, right? It reminded me of the expression that is, we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. It's progress over perfection. It's like, even if you're unsure, you don't need 100% certainty of something to take the decision. It's like 50% plus 1 is more than enough.
Right. Yeah, it's the whole, don't make the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? And
Yeah.
it's, again,
Exactly.
and when I have those conversations, it's like, yeah, but you don't even know what good is yet. Again, because you're just sitting there, it's like we're not even in the part of the conversation where we're talking about perfect. We're zero.
Just wanted to thank you so much for joining this episode, and for those who are looking for someone like you to guide them through it, that they like this blunt and straight to the point approach, that I personally love it.
I'm excited about seeing where they break. And like we said, if it's an 8-step problem and by the end of the year I make it a 4-step problem, that is enormous progress in my book.
All right, thank you so
See you
much.
later.